Greeting, brethren and sisterin. You are now in tune on the one, the force itself at this time. We call it the Holy Master Blaster Jamming. I am Etol Iman. Enough already. It is not enough to know or believe you were the first Americans. That is nothing new, nor does it serve any purpose. It means on this timeline you are 46 years behind the curve. At this time in history, this is known. What you are doing is sleep. Woke is in the knowing that you realize the objective, not living in the egotistical fantasy of illusion, hooked on the drug of I know something no one else knows. A liberator is one who has the blueprint in his mind and stands on the foundation of the true chosen one, who has climbed the mountain of time. I have been waiting with unopened buds. Spring comes. The grass grows of its own. Old mossy pond. Frog jumping in. The sound of water. This is a challenge that you move past intellectual pride and historical identity into actionable present moment reality. It critiques a superficial state of awareness, contrasting sleep, waking, with true mastery and purpose. You are now in tune on the one, the force itself at this time. We call it the Holy Master Blaster Jamming. Yes, I am. I am your brother, the Rastafari, Etol Iman. Yes, I am. Yes, I am. The trap of historical identity. What you have did, you have fell into the trap of historical identity. Irrelevance of the past status. Knowing or believing you were the first yields no current practical value. You are 46 years behind. Obsessing over origins places you nearly a half-century behind modern progress. History should serve as a launch pad, not a permanent psychological resting place. You have become a stagnant pond. The I know drug. Ego feeds on the illusion of possessing secret, exclusive knowledge. You're feeding this egotistical fantasy. We were the first. So now that we found love, what are we going to do with it? Intellectual superiority creates a false sense of achievement while keeping you in the stagnant pond. Or shall I make it more graphic? You remain a stagnant pond. I am the frog jumping in. Splash. The sound of water. Natty, can you hear me? True awakening means seeing reality as it is, stripped of personal vanity. I am revealing to you the architecture of a true liberator. As Bob Marley said, soon you will find out who is a real revolutionary. This is the internal blueprint. A real leader carries active, structured plans for systematic change. There is no need for us to rebuild the apple cart. As a prophet has said already, we free our people with music. So there has already been a solid foundation laid. Action must stand on universal truth, not self-proclaimed, unearned titles. The information that you bring, spit out, and your followers regurgitate. We laid the foundation for the liberation over 46 years ago. The message is in the ether. And most of the things you say, we have said it already, but you don't present it in the correct order. So, the power comes from enduring history's trials, not just analyzing them. We have stood upon the mountain of time, waiting upon you. So, this is the Zen translation, i.e. the Zen transition to flow and action. Rastafari is Zen passive, unopened buds. Potential has remained dormant, waiting patiently for the correct alignment of time. Spring comes, the grass grows of its own, signifies that true change happens effortlessly when conditions are ripe. As Basho has said, and we use his reference a lot, so our final line invoke a classic Zen haiku. The frog splashing into the old pond shatters silence, shatters the noise, the white noise, symbolizing a sudden sharp return to the immediate present. So we need not be trapped in historical identity. We know who we are. So there is no debunking the king and queen's rhetoric, but we have to. We know who we are. You might be just waking up to who you are, and you must wake up to the fact that you are not the messenger. Proven black people were the first Americans, bringing forth the Olmec theories, or the original builders of civilization, serves no functional purpose in modern black communities that remain disenfranchised. So we have the blueprint to take us out of disenfranchisement. But there are so many gatekeepers. No one is listening. So you bring up people that have did wrong, that have went against the laws of the universe. Some of them are no longer with us. But you keep placing these people. You have the big platforms. You place these people in front of us. And their methods are null and void. You are now in tune. So there's a 46-year deficit. Fixating on ancient history leaves activists generations behind the curve of modern geopolitics, economics, and technological warfare. This is a CGI war, information war, etc. Substituting historical pride for actual political and economical power acts as a sedative rather than a catalyst for revolt. The Hotep trap, sleepwalk, describes individuals who are highly vocal about conspiracies and hidden histories, but completely dormant in local organizing and community building. The drug of I know something no one else does critiques the elitism of consciousness, spaces where knowing esoteric facts is used to feel superior to the average struggling person. True consciousness is not a lifestyle, brand, or social media aesthetic. It is a clear-eyed, unglamorous assessment of systemic oppression and what is required to dismantle it. This is what is required to dismantle it. We free our people with music. That's established. That is the Kabbalistic wisdom handed to us from our ancestors, Anunnaki, and you have that so screwed up. Who is Anunnaki? A lot of you minds are so messed up. You're talking about they are reptilians, they are grays. So sit down and shut the hell up, because you're in the way. You're in the way. A liberator is not just a critic of white supremacy. Hear me now. They possess a concrete architectural blueprint for alternative instructions, schools, and economic systems. We must focus on the true chosen ones. A lot of you are here. Council, chosen ones. What are you chosen for? What blueprint do you have? Where are you going to lead us? Chosen ones. Council. What council are you talking about? True leadership is earned through the grueling climb up the mountain of time, sacrificing, enduring state pushback, being stopped by the FBI, having your books taken from the FBI, being interrogated for hours by the FBI. Then you know you're somebody when the Washington Post covers your story. Then you know. How many of you have had an interview with the Washington Post, biggest CI newspaper in the world? How many of you have been detained by the government, by the FBI, by the State Department for your work in cyberspace? None of you. You are now in tune. I am your brother, Ital Iman. How many of you are doing true groundwork rather than declaring oneself a prophet online? The unopened buds represent organized revolutionary potential that is quietly building capacity, waiting for the exact structural moment of systemic vulnerability to strike. We know that the 11th Dogon CG is coming next year, 2027. We are in the door, walking through the portal of 2026 is a portal. A lot of you talk about portals, this and that. 2026 is a portal. In the year 1427, 600 years ago, the Dogon CG started. Next year, 2027, on the other side of the portal, in the age of Aquarius has been taken from us. We are blind to the fact that that's where we live now, but we can't make any progress because you are the council. Blah, blah, blah. Ray. It has been all set up, and we have this information here at the Rastafari Mystery School as to what we are to do. We free our people with sound vibration. Now, this is a Zen transition. This is a flow and action. The organic nature of revolution. True liberation movements cannot be forced prematurely by ego. They occur naturally when material conditions worsen and the people collectively reach the breaking point. But we do need a leader. The old Mossy Pond represents a stagnant conscious movement that talks in circles, rhetoric, without making moves. Where do we go from here? None of you know where we go from here. You don't even know what you don't even know what you're supposed to be doing. So we listen to that sound of the water that's coming from this voice. The frog jumping in is a sudden, disruptive, concrete action of real rebellion. I didn't just pop up today. I was here with the same message over 46 years ago. How many of you were delivering the message that you say you're delivering now in the year 1981? This is when this vibration you're on now with the static, with the white noise started in the year 1981. You would know nothing about what you're talking about if the door was not open for you to talk about what you talk about. How many of you were on the internet in the year 1996? None of you. So this vibration shatters the quiet illusions of the armchair philosophers and return everyone to the immediate, urgent present. You are now in tune. So through the lens of Bob Marley's sonic philosophy, the text shift from a political critique to a manual for cosmic and metaphysical warfare. Marley did not view music as a mere entertainment. He didn't view it as entertainment like the first wave of the doorkeepers around 2016. They called it edutainment. Marley did not view music as mere entertainment, but as a literal scientific technology of liberation capable of bypassing the intellectual ego and directly reorganize your consciousness. Merely knowing or debating that black people were the first Americans is a dead-end intellectual exercise. Intellectual arguments keep you trapped in linear time, lagging behind the systems of oppression. Music collapses linear time. This is sonic time travel. Music collapses linear time by utilizing specific sound vibrations, such as the heartbeat rhythm of the Rastafari Nyabingi drums. The prophet Bob Marley bypassed the historical timeline entirely, instantly reconnecting the listener to ancient origins without the need for academic debate. What we are saying, we're not concerned about it being peer reviewed. This information is coming directly to you from the Holy Mothership. We call it the Holy Master Blaster Jamming. What is Master Blaster Jamming? In the early 80s, we were in the middle of the makings of the Master Blaster Jamming. Now we have, as Noah was building his boat, now we are finished with building the boat. The door is open, has been open. Now we're about to close the door once we walk through the portal of 2026. So the illusion of your mind, or the illusion of the mind, sleepwalk, is being trapped in the head, getting high on ego-driven drug of knowing someone, i.e., of knowing something no one else does, regarding the Dogon, Hopi, or the Olmec. We are the first. We know that. We've been know that. So there is a sonic cure for your psychosis. Sound vibration bypasses the ego and the intellect. We free our people with music. It does not ask you to debate. It forces your biology and your spirit to align with the universal frequency. It's all about frequency, sound vibration. Everything was created by sound vibration. In the beginning was the Word. So you must become hip to this objective realization. True awakening is not an intellectual secret. It is a felt vibratory or a vibrational reality. Bob Marley's music aimed to shock the sleepwalk out of their mental illusions and drop them directly into the harmony of the present moment. The liberator with the blueprint in his mind is a musician, shaman, who understands how to engineer sound to heal and unite. Thus, the Master Blaster Jamming is so designed. So you must start studying our work. You must start supporting us by buying the Holy Book of Wonder. We just finished, which is our foundation work, the Holy Book of Wonder. Everything we teach comes from the Holy Book of Wonder. It is a foundation of the Rastafari Mystery School. We just finished our book of Revelation called the Banneker Grid. You really need that to complete this walk through this portal 2026. Marley's blueprint was the inner realization that all ancient knowledge, from the star center of the Dogon to the geometry of the pyramids, is encoded in the Earth's natural crystal grid. The liberator waits in the studio, crafting the precise sonic frequencies, the songs or the buds, waiting for the right spiritual atmosphere to bloom globally and activate the collective consciousness, which is the point that we are now facing. So this is the Zen transition to flow and action, the ripple of the cosmic splash, the inevitable spring, When the music hits, it triggers an organic, unstoppable awakening. The grass grows of its own because the frequency forces the human spirit to grow towards freedom, completely independent of the political system. I am your brother, the Rastafari, Ital Iman, and you are now in tune on the one. So we ask you to stay tuned. We'll be back with more of this information. This is the introduction of this information. This is the manifesto. manifestation or the manifest destiny. We had a goal from the beginning, and we are right on. We have hit the target, so it is up to you to get upon what we call the Zion train, because the mothership will fly like it always does. This is a cycle, and what you are dealing with has nothing to do with that cycle. You must go in with the swirl and come out with the whirl. Therefore, you will not be drowned in the tides. Stay tuned for more.
Manifest destiny. Ooh, oh, oh. Na, 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 na. Oh. Manifest destiny. Enough already with the ancient names, the static histories and the frozen claims. To boast you were the first upon this floor is 46 years laid behind the door. That is the drug of ego in the dark, a sleepwalk fantasy without a spark. The true liberator does not wait to start. He stands up on the grid and boards the cart. The cart is built, the vehicle is spun, woven in the rhythm of the rising sun. You think you're cool to choose complexity? Marley hit the blueprint in simplicity. Erase the vanity, the intellectual strain, and take the holy trinity of sun and rain. The stars are moving to a shifting pole, a natural correction of the human soul. For where the two or three agree in sound, a geometric center point is instantly found. It is the science of the wave, the living chord, the matching frequency of Christ the Lord. No need to build a new device or scheme, just align your spirit with the cosmic stream. Plug your biology into the ancient grid and wake the power that the masters hid. This is the technology of active faith, a weapon that dissolves the shadows ray. The marzipan will shatter with the drop, a heavy bass line that no wall can stop. The winter breaks, the silent waters groan. Spring comes, the grass will grow of its own. No, 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 no. The stiff-necked council gathers in the cold metallic halls, trapped inside the calculations where their vain illusion sprawls. They built a super collider ring to smash the atoms core, blind to the simple ancient key that opens up the door. They get high on the drug of knowing secrets in the dark, while wasting 50 cycles trying to reinvent the card. But the message is the music, and the music is a wave of frequency that wakes the dead and shatters Babylon's grave. It bypasses the ego and the intellectual pride, using the heartbeat prophecy with where the doggone ride. The sun, the moon, the rain, the stars are locking into place to completely erase the fantasy of this artificial race, where two or more are gathered, standing synchronized as one. The technology of faith ignites beneath the golden sun. The center point holds steady as the polar axis shift. The ancient crystal planetary grid begins to lift. The old mossy pond is broken by a heavy roaring sound, a cosmic splash of water shaking logic to the ground. The elder steps across the rift, leaving the dead behind, carrying the burning blueprint of the true and living mind. The buds are finally opened as the system falls away. The grass is growing of its own into the perfect day. The stiff-necked council gathers in the cold metallic halls, trapped inside the calculations where their vain illusions pause. They built a super collider ring to smash the atoms core, blind to the simple ancient key that opens up the door. They get high on the drug of knowing secrets in the dark, while wasting 50 cycles trying to reinvent the card. But the message is the music, and the music is a wave of frequency that wakes the dead and shatters Babylon's grave. It bypasses the ego and the intellectual pride. tracks across the red, leaving the dead behind, carrying the burning blueprint of the true and living mind. The buds are finally opened as the system falls away. The grass is growing of its own into the perfect day.
This is part 2 of a Manifest Destiny. What is Master Blaster Jamming? Let me make it clear. It is the agreement that the gods made with I and I. It is the agreement that is binding on the Anunnaki, some may say on God. It is the covenant of the ark. What is the ark? The ark is the music, the carrier of the word. So the agreement was when it became a time as it is currently, everything is held to skelter. We are to cry out unto the gods in unity, i.e., in other words, to let them know that we are ready. As is written in Exodus 2:23 through 25, and it came to pass in the process of time that the king of Egypt died, and the children of Israel, i.e., children of the light, cried out, or as it's written, sighed, which means to cry out, by reason of bondage. They were in slavery. They were enslaved. Bible is allegory, metaphors, and similes. In our situation, we are in mental bondage. We just came out of physical bondage, chattel slavery. Now we are in mental bondage. So it came to pass in the process of time that the king of Egypt died, and the children of Israel sighed by reason of bondage. And they cried, and their cry came up unto God by reason of bondage. And God heard their groaning, and God remembered his covenant with Abraham, with Isaac, and with Jacob. So we are to cry out in unity, and that cry out was a scientific sound vibration in harmonic convergence, i.e., in concert. Concert means unity. And this is the message that was in the music of 7 major prophets, or 7 major poets. Bob Marley foremost, Stevie Wonder, Lee Scratch Perry, Kenny Gamble, Marvin Gaye, Gil Scott-Heron, Frankie Beverly, Maurice White of Earth, Wind and Fire, and the Boule, who reject the vibration, George Boule Clinton. You are now in tune on the one, the force itself of this time. We call it the Holy Master Blaster Jamming. I am your brother, the Rastafari journalist, poet, folk artist, etc., Ital Iman. So we speak of this concert is very scientific in design, but so far the empire has tried to stifle that vibration, and we'll get more into that later, or it's already in our work. You just have to come over here and search it. Drop your egos. So we speak of the sound of water, the frog jumping in, is the drop of the reggae bass line, a heavy physical, undeniable sound vibration. It scatters the silence of oppression, sending ripples across the cosmic grid, uniting Hopi, Dogon, and Olmec frequencies into a singular, liberating present moment. Bob Marley wrote this song called Stiff-Necked Fool. So you deny me for simplicity. So he says, take Jah sun, Jah moon, and the stars, and forever erase your fantasy. This is aligned with the coming polarized ship. You might not believe what he's saying. You might not believe what I and I are saying, but there will come a time when everything comes to a climax, when you're going to see that what we have said way before you started your rhetoric is coming to pass now. You can see it now, but you still want to play around. So Bob Marley's Stiff-Necked Fools. The stiff-necked fools present a vision of cosmic correction, where human arrogance and vain linear interpretations of history are erased by a violent natural and prophesied planetary shift, effectively aligning with indigenous prophecies like the Hopi, the Dogon. The lyrics contrast the vanity of human-centered, cool intellectualism with the raw, simple, and inescapable forces of Jah sun and Jah moon and Jah rain and Jah stars, suggesting that a true liberated awakening comes from aligning with these natural elements rather than the contemporary constructs of human civilization. So in my discourse, I tell the people there is no need to build another cart. As Marley said, soon you will find out who is the real revolutionary. The message is in the music. It is for us to align ourselves with that message. Aligning yourself with the one who is aligned with it is where the liberating power is. When two or more gather in the name of truth, truth is in their midst, as Jesus said. So we must agree on the same thing. I'm at the center, and this science will take us into the technology of faith. So no need to build another cart. So the illusion of new movements. The completed vehicle, the cart, represents the endless cycle of creating new political parties, factions, or intellectual theories. Marley's music already consolidated the ancient knowledge and frequency and the blueprints. So there's a trap in these inventions. Trying to build a new vehicle keeps people trapped in the 46-year behind the curve dynamic. It is a symptom of the ego wanting to say, I built this, rather than submitting to the universal truth that is already here. As Marley sang in interviews, soon you will find out who is the real revolutionary. The true revolutionary is not the one creating new philosophy, but the one capable of decoding and broadcasting the existing cosmic truth you are now into. In physics, entrainment, occurs when two interacting, oscillating systems assume a synchronized phase. Aligning yourself with someone who is already perfectly aligned with the source frequency automatically pulls your own vibration into harmony, as Jesus says, lift me up and you yourselves will also be lifted up. We must have Zen mind. We must understand the allegory, the metaphor, and simile void of ego. We must drop this Messiah complex. The stiff-necked fools try to intellectually understand the grid through vain imaginations. True liberation bypasses the mind entirely. You simply align with the frequency. And the music does the cellular reorganization for you, as it is in my words I speak, and my words do what they do. You must drop the ego and let my words do what they do. Aligning with the messenger who carries a blueprint provides a shortcut out of the sleepwalk. You come out of that status once you let the words do what they do. It plugs the individual directly into the sun, moon, stars, and the ancient Dogon, Hopi, Olmec, ancient Egyptian, Anunnaki grid. When Jesus stated, "Where two or more gather in my name, I am at your center," he was describing a geometric and spiritual law, not just a religious sentiment. In wave physics, when two waves of the same frequency meet, their amplitudes combine to create a wave of massive power. This is the scientific reality of agreeing on the same thing. Black people, Moors, etc. When two or more people align with Marley's sonic message, they form a localized node of the Earth's crystal grid. The I am, or Christ consciousness, manifests instantly at the center, shattering the old mossy pond stagnation. Now, this vibration was handed to who we call Logos Circle 7, song like the Cosmic Midwife, Stevie Wonder. But he is entrapped or enslaved by the empire. The man is blind, and there are people that don't want this to happen, so they keep him from interfacing with truth. And we have tried. If you read the Holy Book of Wonder, you'll understand what's taking place here, what I'm trying to cause out that you see. We must use faith as a technology, as a machine. Faith is no longer treated as a passive, blind hope. Through this lens, faith is a precise, reproducible technology, the deliberate manipulation of unseen frequencies to alter physical matter. When the physical north and south poles shift as prophesied by Hopi and Dogon, the human structures built on vanity will collapse. Only those anchored in the technology of faith, those whose internal frequencies match the sun, moon, and the stars, will remain stable. This technology weaponizes, i.e., this technology weaponizes sound and agreement to completely erase the fantasy of the oppressor's timeline, forces the grass to grow on its own, and drops humanity directly into the next epoch of time. You are now in tune. To master the technology of faith, you must strip the words substance and evidence of their passive religious definition. These are two tangible words. In the original Greek text of Hebrews 11, verse 1, the word for substance is hypothesis. a technical scientific term meaning the underlying substructure or that which stands under physical reality. Evidence. El hechos means a proof that brings conviction. Faith is not an emotion. It is a highly structured, objective substance. Tangibility. That's what it is. It is the invisible scaffolding upon which physical matter is organized. All right. So, this is manifest destiny. It is a reality of the black people who were once chattel slavery. We are the true sons of the gods. So, enough already with the ancient names, the static histories, and the frozen claims. To boast you were the first upon this floor is 46 years late behind the door. That is a drug of ego in the dark, a sleepwalk fantasy without a spark. The true liberator does not wait to start. He stands upon the grid and boards the cart. The cart is built, the vehicle is spun, woven in the rhythm of the rising sun. You think you're cool to choose complexity? Marley hid the blueprint in simplicity. Erase the vanity, the intellectual strain, and take the holy trinity of sun and rain. The stars are moving to a shifting pole, a natural correction of the human soul. For where the two or three gather in sound, a geometric center point is instantly found. It is the source of the wave, the living chord, the matching frequency of the Christ the Lord. No need to build a new device or scheme. Just align your spirit with the cosmic stream. Plug your biology into the ancient grid and wake the power that the masters hid. This is the technology of active faith, a weapon that dissolves the shadow's wrath. The mossy pond will shatter with the drop, the heavy bass line that no wall can stop. The winter breaks, the silent waters groan. Spring comes, the grass will grow on its own. You are now in tune. The stiff-necked council gathers in the cold, metallic halls, trapped inside the calculation where their vain illusions sprawl. They built a super collider ring to smash the atom's core, blind to the simple ancient key that opens up the door. They get high on the drug of knowing secrets in the dark, while waiting 50 cycles trying to reinvent the cart. But the message is the music, and the music is the wave, a frequency that wakes the dead and shatters Babylon's grave. It bypasses the ego and the intellectual pride, fusing the Hopi prophecy with where the Dogon rides. The sun, Jah moon, Jah rain, the stars are locking into place to completely erase the fantasy of this artificial race. Where two or more are gathered, standing synchronized as one, the technology of faith ignites beneath the golden sun. The center point holds steady as a polar axis shift. The ancient crystal planetary grid begins to lift. Old mossy pond is broken by a heavy roaring sound. A cosmic splash of water, shaking logic to the ground. The elder steps across the rift, leaving the dead behind, carrying the burning blueprint of the true and the living mind. The buds have finally opened as the system falls away. The grass is growing on its own into a perfect day. You are now in tune on the one, the force itself this time. We call it the Holy Master Blaster Jamming. I am your brother, Etal Iman. Has been part 2 of the Manifest Destiny, the Rastafari Manifesto. Yes, I.